The bitter Arctic wind howled across the Greenland ice sheet as Dr. James Miller stared at his equipment in disbelief. The energy readings made no sense. Deep beneath the ancient ice, something was giving off a steady pulse of energy that shouldn't exist. "Tom, come look at this," he called to his research assistant. "These readings can't be right." Tom walked over, his heavy boots crunching on the packed snow. He adjusted his thick glasses and looked at the scanner's display. "That's impossible. There's nothing down there except ice and rock." But the scanner didn't lie. Nearly 200 meters below their feet, something was alive with energy. Dr. Miller had been studying glaciers for 15 years, and he had never seen anything like this. "Get the deep scanning equipment ready," he ordered. "We need better images of whatever's down there." Within an hour, their small research team had set up the advanced imaging equipment. The 3D display slowly built up a picture of what lay beneath the ice. As the image became clearer, everyone fell silent. "Are those chambers?" Tom asked, his voice barely a whisper. The scans revealed a network of perfectly carved rooms and hallways, all preserved in the ice. But what made Dr. Miller's heart race was what the chambers contained. In each room, crystal-like formations held what appeared to be human bodies. "We need to call this in," he said, reaching for his satellite phone with shaking hands. "This is way beyond our usual research." Within 48 hours, the quiet research site had transformed into a bustling operation. Military trucks drove across the ice, bringing equipment and personnel. A temporary base sprung up around the site, with heated tents and powerful lights illuminating the area even during the dark Arctic night. Dr. Miller watched as drilling equipment was set up. They would have to be incredibly careful not to damage whatever lay below. As he reviewed the latest scans, Dr. Laura Jones, a specialist in ancient civilizations, approached him. "These formations," she said, pointing to the crystal structures, "they're not natural. Someone made them. And look at these markings on the walls." The scans showed strange symbols carved into the ice cave walls. They looked like no writing system Dr. Miller had ever seen. The drilling continued for 3 days. Finally, they broke through into the first chamber. Dr. Miller was among the first team to descend. As they lowered themselves down ropes into the ancient space, their headlamps revealed a sight that took their breath away. The chamber was huge, its walls smooth and covered in those strange symbols that seemed to give off a faint glow. But it was the center of the room that drew everyone's attention. There, in a perfect crystal formation that looked more like art than ice, was a human body. The person inside looked like they were sleeping. There was no sign of decay, no damage from the ice. They wore strange clothing made of material that seemed to shimmer in the light. "Look at the readings," Tom said, checking his instruments. "There's brain activity. Whoever this is, they're alive." Dr. Miller stepped closer to the crystal formation. As he did, something extraordinary happened. The symbols on the walls began to glow brighter, and a soft hum filled the chamber. The crystal containing the sleeping person started to pulse with a gentle blue light. "Everyone, stay calm," Dr. Miller said, though his own heart was pounding. "Document everything. This could be the most important discovery in human history." As if responding to his words, more crystals in connected chambers began to glow. Through the ice walls, they could see other chambers lighting up one by one, revealing more sleeping figures. Dr. Miller looked at his team, then at the military personnel who had accompanied them. Everyone wore the same expression of amazement and disbelief. Whatever they had found here, it was going to change everything they thought they knew about human history. "Get me the best medical team available," he ordered, "and someone contact the World Science Council. We're going to need experts from every field for this." As he spoke, the humming grew stronger, and the first crystal's glow intensified. Somewhere in the ancient ice cave, machinery that had waited for thousands of years began to wake up. The discovery in Greenland was about to reveal secrets that would reshape humanity's understanding of itself and its place in the universe. 3 weeks after the discovery, The ice cave had been transformed into a high-tech research facility. Doctors and scientists from around the world worked around the clock, studying the strange crystals and their sleeping occupants. Dr. Miller hadn't left the site since the discovery. He stood watching as the medical team prepared to wake the first ancient human. They had chosen the crystal that showed the strongest life signs. "Beginning the thawing process," announced Dr. Roberts, the head of the medical team. The crystal containing the sleeping man glowed brighter as special heating equipment was activated. Everyone in the room held their breath. Security teams stood ready, though Dr. Miller had argued against their presence. The crystal's surface began to turn clear like water, and for the first time, they could see the man's face clearly. He looked young, perhaps in his 30s, with strong features and dark hair. His clothes were made of a material that seemed to shift colors under the lights. Suddenly, the crystal dissolved completely. The man took a deep breath, his eyes snapping open. The medical team rushed forward, but before they could reach him, he sat up on his own. "Stay back," he said in perfect English, surprising everyone. "I need a moment to adjust." The security team raised their weapons, but Dr. Miller stepped forward. "Please, lower your guns. We're here to help you." The man looked around the room, taking in the modern equipment and the people. A small smile appeared on his face. "You found us. Good. We've been waiting a very long time. My name is Dr. James Miller. Can you tell us who you are?" "I am Marcus," he replied, standing up smoothly. "And I have much to tell you about your past and your future." Over the next few hours, as the medical team checked his health, Marcus revealed an incredible story. He explained that he came from an advanced human civilization that existed 50,000 years ago. "Your history books are incomplete," Marcus said, accepting a cup of water. "Humanity has risen and fallen many times. We were perhaps the most advanced cycle, but we saw something coming that we couldn't stop." "What was coming?" Dr. Miller asked, recording everything. Marcus's face grew serious. "A threat from beyond the stars. We knew Earth would be defenseless when they arrived, so we made a choice. Rather than fight a losing battle, we would preserve ourselves, waiting for the right time to return and prepare humanity." As if to prove his words, Marcus raised his hand. The cup of water floated up from the table, spinning slowly in the air. Everyone in the room gasped. "How did you do that?" Tom asked, his eyes wide. "All humans have this ability," Marcus explained. "We simply learned how to use it. The power lies dormant in your minds, waiting to be awakened." Dr. Miller found himself drawn to a strange sensation in his head. It felt like a gentle pressure, a presence that wasn't his own. Marcus smiled at him. "You feel it, don't you, Dr. Miller? You're more sensitive than most. I'm communicating with you telepathically right now." The security team shifted nervously as Marcus stood up and walked to the window overlooking the other crystals. "We need to wake the others. Time is short." "What do you mean?" Dr. Miller asked, still trying to process the idea that someone was speaking inside his mind. "The threat we saw coming. It's almost here. Humanity needs to be ready." Marcus turned to face them, his eyes glowing slightly. "Your people have achieved much with technology, but you've ignored the power within yourselves. We can teach you, but we must hurry." Dr. Roberts checked her medical readings again. "This is impossible. His brain is using parts we thought were inactive. His DNA, it's like ours, but somehow more complex. We evolved," Marcus explained, "not just physically, but mentally. And you can too." He looked at Dr. Miller. "You'll be one of the first. I can sense your potential." As if responding to his words, the other crystals in the cave began to pulse with light. Marcus smiled again, but this time there was worry in his eyes. "Wake my people," he said. "Earth will need every one of us for what's coming." Dr. Miller looked at the glowing crystals, then at Marcus. The world as they knew it was about to change forever, and somehow, he knew he would be right in the middle of it all. 2 months after Marcus's awakening, Dr. Miller sat in the newly built command center near the ice cave. The room was filled with screens showing news from around the world. Marcus stood beside him, watching the chaos unfold. "They're here," Marcus said quietly. On every screen, the same images played. Massive ships appearing from nowhere, positioned above major cities worldwide. They were huge, each one looking like a dark metal mountain floating in the sky. The first radio message from the ships made everyone in the room freeze. "People of Earth," a cold voice announced in all languages at once. "We are the Dominion. Your planet is now under our control. Surrender, and some of you may survive to serve us. Resist, and we will destroy you all." Marcus's face hardened. It's the same message they've given to 100 other worlds. This is what we waited for. Dr. Miller watched as world leaders scrambled to respond. Military jets that flew too close to the alien ships were swatted away like flies. Weapons seemed useless against their shields. "How many worlds have they conquered?" Dr. Miller asked. "Too many to count," Marcus replied. "They believe themselves superior to all other life, but they've never faced humans with awakened powers before." In the past weeks, Marcus had been teaching Dr. Miller to use his mental abilities. Now Miller could move small objects with his mind and sense the thoughts of others nearby. But it wasn't enough. Not nearly enough to face this threat. The command center's door burst open. Tom rushed in, his face pale. "You need to see this. The aliens, they've sent down some kind of scanning beam. They're looking for something." Marcus's eyes widened. "They're searching for us. They must have detected the energy when we woke up." He turned to Dr. Miller. "We need to wake everyone. Now." They rushed to the cave chamber where the remaining crystals glowed. 15 of the ancient humans were already awake, but dozens more remained in their crystal sleep. Suddenly, the cave shook. Above them, a dark shape blocked out the sky. One of the alien ships had found them. "Everyone out," Dr. Miller shouted, but Marcus grabbed his arm. "No, we stand our ground. It's time to show them what humanity can really do." The ceiling of the cave cracked as a beam of energy cut through the ice. Alien soldiers dropped down, their armor making them look like giant insects. They carried weapons that hummed with power. But Marcus just smiled. He raised his hands, and a wave of invisible force threw the aliens back. The other awakened ancients joined him, their combined mental power creating a shield around the cave. "Dr. Miller," Marcus called out, "remember what I taught you. Focus your energy." Miller closed his eyes, feeling the power build inside him. When he opened them again, he saw through different eyes. He could sense the energy flowing through everything: the ice, the crystals, even the aliens. The alien soldiers fired their weapons, but the combined shield held. Marcus's voice echoed in everyone's mind. Together. In that moment, something extraordinary happened. The mental energy of the ancients and Dr. Miller connected, becoming stronger than the sum of its parts. The aliens stumbled back as their weapons stopped working. "Impossible," one of the alien commanders shouted. "They're just primitive humans." Marcus stepped forward, his eyes glowing bright blue. "You should have checked your history better. We are the race that survived ice ages, built pyramids, and reached for the stars. We are humanity, and we've been waiting for you." The alien ship above them tried to fire its main weapon, but nothing happened. The combined mental power of the humans had shut down its systems. Dr. Miller watched in amazement as Marcus lifted the alien soldiers into the air with just a thought. "Send a message to your leaders," Marcus told them. "Tell them that Earth is not what they expected. Tell them that humanity is awake." As the aliens retreated in confusion, Marcus turned to Dr. Miller. "This was just the first test. They'll be back with more ships, more soldiers. We need to wake the others and start training more humans. The real battle hasn't even begun." Dr. Miller nodded, looking at his hands where energy still sparkled. Humanity had just shown its first sign of real power, But he knew this was only the beginning. The ice cave hummed with energy as more crystals began to melt. After the first battle with the Dominion forces, Marcus had insisted on waking their leader. Dr. Miller watched as the largest crystal dissolved, revealing a tall woman with silver-streaked hair. "Welcome back, Anna," Marcus said, helping her stand. Anna opened her eyes, which shimmered with the same inner light that all the ancients seemed to have. "The enemy has finally come," she said. "It wasn't a question." "Yes, and they're stronger than we predicted," Marcus replied. "But so are the modern humans. Dr. Miller, come meet our leader." Dr. Miller stepped forward, feeling slightly nervous. In the past week, his powers had grown stronger, but he still felt like a child compared to the ancients. Anna smiled warmly. "Don't doubt yourself, James Miller. I can sense your potential. You're already stronger than most of us were when we first discovered our abilities." The cave shook slightly as more alien ships passed overhead. Since the first battle, the Dominion had been cautious, keeping their distance but always watching. "We need to begin mass training," Anna announced. "How many military bases have been prepared?" Tom, who had been monitoring communications, checked his tablet. 23 bases worldwide are ready to receive teachers. The governments are still arguing about whether to trust you, but most military leaders want the training." "Good." Anna walked to a wall covered in glowing symbols. With a wave of her hand, the symbols rearranged themselves into a map of Earth. "We'll split into teams. Each ancient will take a group of modern humans to train." Dr. Miller watched in amazement as she touched different points on the map, causing them to glow. "The Dominion thinks they've seen what we can do," she said. "They're wrong. What they saw was just a fraction of our power." To demonstrate, Anna raised both hands. Everyone in the room felt themselves lifting off the ground. But this was different from Marcus's demonstrations. They weren't just floating. They could move freely, as if gravity had become a suggestion rather than a law. "This is just the beginning," Anna said. "Every human has different strengths. Some will excel at moving objects, others at healing, or seeing the future, or even changing matter itself." Dr. Miller discovered he could fly around the room with just a thought. "How is this possible?" he asked. "Your minds are evolving, awakening to their true potential," Anna explained. "The powers were always there, dormant in your DNA. We're just showing you how to access them." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Tom rushed to his screens. Multiple Dominion ships approaching major cities. They're broadcasting a message. The alien voice boomed through the speakers. "Humans, you have hidden powers among you. This is your last chance to surrender these special ones to us. Resist, and we will destroy your cities one by one." Anna's face hardened. They're afraid. They've never encountered a species that could challenge their technology with natural abilities. She turned to the group. "We need to move faster. Marcus, take Dr. Miller and begin training the military teams. I'll wake the rest of our people." "What about the aliens?" Dr. Miller asked. "Let them watch," Anna said with a confident smile. "Let them see humanity rise. Every threat they make, every show of force, will only make people more determined to unlock their potential." Over the next few hours, the remaining crystals were awakened. Each ancient had a different specialty to teach. Some could create shields of pure energy, others could heal with a touch, and a few could even see glimpses of possible futures. Dr. Miller worked with Marcus, teaching soldiers how to access their hidden powers. To his surprise, many learned quickly, especially when faced with the urgent threat above their world. "Remember," he told his students, repeating what Marcus had taught him, "these aren't magical powers. They're natural abilities that humans have always had. We just forgot how to use them." As the day ended, Dr. Miller stood with Anna and Marcus, watching as hundreds of newly awakened humans practiced their abilities. In the sky, the Dominion ships loomed like dark clouds, but they no longer seemed as frightening. "Tomorrow," Anna said, "we show them what humanity can really do. The real battle for Earth is about to begin." Dr. Miller nodded, feeling the power flowing through him growing stronger. The Dominion had no idea what they had awakened in humanity, but they were about to find out. 1 month after Anna's awakening, Dr. Miller stood on top of a military base in Nevada, watching his students practice. Hundreds of soldiers floated in the air, their minds now strong enough to overcome gravity. Near them, another group practiced creating energy shields, their hands glowing with blue light. "They learned faster than we expected," Marcus said, appearing beside him, "especially when they work together." Dr. Miller nodded. In just a few weeks, training centers had spread across the globe. The ancient humans had been right. Every person had the potential for these powers. Some showed incredible strength in healing, others in moving objects, and a few even demonstrated the ability to see brief moments into the future. Suddenly, the sky darkened. 3 massive Dominion ships appeared above the base, their black metal surfaces blocking out the sun. "Alert status," Dr. Miller shouted through his mental link with the trainees. The soldiers immediately formed defensive positions, their hands raised and ready. The lead alien ship's speakers boomed. "This is your final warning. We have seen your training camps. Surrender now, or we will demonstrate our true power." Anna's voice echoed in everyone's mind. "Stay calm. This is the moment we've trained for." The alien ships launched their first attack. Huge beams of energy shot toward the base, but they never reached their target. Hundreds of human soldiers raised their hands together, creating a massive shield of pure mental energy. The alien weapons bounced off harmlessly. "Impossible." The alien voice cracked with surprise. Marcus smiled. "Show them what humanity can do." Dr. Miller led the first counterattack. He and 50 soldiers focused their powers on the smallest alien ship. Together, their mental energy reached out and grabbed the massive vessel. The ship's engines fired desperately, but they couldn't break free from the humans' mental grip. "Bring it down," Dr. Miller commanded. "Gently. We want prisoners, not casualties." The ship was slowly pulled from the sky, landing softly in the desert. Alien crews rushed out, firing their weapons, but more human soldiers were ready. Energy shields blocked every shot, while others used their powers to simply pull the weapons away from the aliens' hands. The other Dominion ships tried to retreat, but Anna had taught the humans well. A group of soldiers specialized in technology interference reached out with their minds, shutting down the alien engines. "This is happening all over the world," Tom reported through the radio. "London, Beijing, Moscow. Everywhere the aliens attacked, they're meeting awakened humans." Dr. Miller watched as his students carefully contained the alien soldiers, using their powers to create energy cages. None of the aliens were hurt, just captured. One of the alien commanders, his armor now powerless, stared at Dr. Miller. "How is this possible? Your species was primitive just months ago." "No," Dr. Miller replied. "We were just sleeping. Like a giant taking a nap, humanity needed time to remember its strength." Reports flooded in from around the world. In Paris, awakened humans had protected the entire city with a massive shield. In Tokyo, a group of school children who had just learned their powers had disabled an alien walker simply by willing its systems to shut down. But the most impressive display came from the healing centers. As the aliens attacked, many people were injured. But humans with newly awakened healing abilities worked tirelessly, curing wounds with just a touch of their hands. "Dr. Miller," Tom called out excitedly. "The main Dominion fleet. They're pulling back. They're retreating to the edge of the solar system." The celebrating humans fell quiet as a new message played from the captured alien ships. "This is Fleet Commander Highborn speaking. We request negotiations." Anna's voice rang proudly in everyone's minds. "Tell them we accept, but they should understand. Earth is now under humanity's protection, and we're just beginning to wake up." Dr. Miller looked at his students, seeing the same pride and amazement in their eyes that he felt. In just a few months, humanity had gone from helpless to powerful enough to drive back an alien invasion. "What happens now?" one of the younger soldiers asked. Marcus put a hand on Dr. Miller's shoulder. Now we prepare for the real fight. The Dominion will be back with their full fleet, but next time, all of humanity will be ready for them. As if to emphasize his words, thousands of humans around the base lifted into the air, their powers glowing like stars against the darkening sky. The age of sleeping giants was over. Humanity had finally awakened. The warning came at dawn. Earth's new psychic detection network, created by thousands of mentally linked humans, sensed them first. The Dominion's main fleet was arriving. This time, they had brought everything. Dr. Miller stood in the Global Command Center, which had been built inside the original ice cave. The walls now glowed with power from thousands of awakened humans who kept the base running with their minds alone. 10,000 ships, Anna announced, her eyes closed as she read the incoming data. Their entire empire's fleet is here. The massive hologram in the center of the room showed the Dominion fleet emerging from hyperspace. Their ships darkened Earth's skies like a metal storm cloud. All defense stations, report in, Dr. Miller commanded through the worldwide mental link they had established. One by one, the responses came in. 2 million humans with awakened powers were now stationed around the globe. Each person had trained hard over the past month, specializing in different abilities. The Dominion's message thundered across the planet. Humans, you have rejected our mercy. Now witness our true power. Marcus, who had been teaching advanced combat techniques, stepped forward. All units, take positions. Remember your training. Together, we are stronger than their technology. The first wave of alien ships attacked. They fired weapons that could have destroyed cities, but they met something unprecedented. A global shield created by 500,000 humans working together. The shield didn't just stop the attacks, it absorbed their energy. Now, Dr. Miller ordered, show them what we learned from their captured ships. Teams of technology specialists reached out with their minds, using the absorbed energy to disable hundreds of alien ships at once. The vessels dropped from the sky, caught safely by other teams who specialized in telekinesis. But the Dominion had learned too. Their second wave released clouds of robots designed to block mental powers. The machines swarmed toward Earth like angry metal insects. They think machines can stop us. Anna smiled. Dr. Miller, show them your special team. Dr. Miller nodded to Tom, who now led a group of engineers with awakened powers. They had discovered they could not only control machines but transform them. As the robot swarms approached, Tom's team reached out. Within seconds, the alien robots stopped, turned around, and began attacking the Dominion ships instead. The alien commander's shocked screams came through their communication channels. Impossible, they cried. These humans, they're changing our own weapons. The battle raged across the globe. In orbit, awakened astronauts protected space stations with metal shields. Under the oceans, another group of humans kept alien submarines from hiding. Every time the Dominion tried a new tactic, they found humans ready with a counter. Then the Dominion revealed their final weapon. A massive ship, bigger than a city, that generated waves of energy designed to knock out human consciousness. Everyone, brace yourselves, Anna warned. The wave hit Earth like an invisible tsunami. Many newer awakened humans stumbled, their powers flickering. But they didn't fall. Instead, something unexpected happened. Dr. Miller felt it first. All the humans on Earth linking their minds together, not just in small groups, but everyone at once. Billions of minds connected, awakened and normal humans alike, creating a mental network more powerful than anything the ancients had ever seen. The Dominion's weapon didn't just fail. It shattered against humanity's combined mental strength. Dr. Miller, Anna said urgently, take the strike team now. While they're surprised, end this. Miller nodded. He had trained for this moment. With 50 of the strongest awakened humans, he teleported directly onto the Dominion's command ship, appearing in their bridge. The alien commanders reached for weapons, but with a thought. Miller's team froze them in place. Listen carefully. Miller said to the Dominion's Supreme Commander, "Earth is off limits, but more than that, we're coming out into the galaxy now, and we'll be protecting any world that asks for our help." The Supreme Commander, his technology useless, his fleet in ruins, could only stare as the humans around Miller floated in the air, their eyes glowing with power. "Tell your empire," Miller continued, "the sleeping giants are awake, and we're just getting started." Across Earth, humans cheered as the remaining Dominion fleet retreated. The battle was over. Humanity had not just defended itself. It had shown the galaxy a power it had never seen before. The age of human awakening had truly begun. 5 years after the battle for Earth, Dr. Miller stood on the observation deck of the new Global Space Center. Below him, the same Greenland ice cave where everything began had grown into a vast complex of buildings. Young students from around the world came here to learn about their mental powers. "Still hard to believe sometimes, isn't it?" Tom asked, walking up beside him. His friend now led Earth's technology division, combining human mental powers with advanced science. "Very," Miller replied, watching a group of children playing in the courtyard. They were floating balls of light between them, laughing as they practiced their abilities. A soft chime sounded, and Anna's voice reached their minds. "The galactic delegation is arriving. Everyone to the main hall." The main hall, built where they had first found the ancient crystals, now served as Earth's center for interstellar relations. Dr. Miller and Tom joined Anna and Marcus there, watching as representatives from 20 alien civilizations appeared through the teleportation platforms. These weren't Dominion worlds. They were civilizations that had heard about Earth's victory and sought humanity's help. In the years since the battle, humanity had become known as the guardians of the galactic underdogs. "Welcome to Earth," Anna announced to the gathered aliens. "You're safe here." A small alien child from a world recently freed from Dominion control ran up to Dr. Miller. Like many of her kind, she had blue skin and 4 arms. "Is it true?" she asked in her language, which Miller understood through his mental powers. Did humans really start with no powers at all? Miller smiled, kneeling down to her level. "We had them all along. We just needed to remember." He created a small, glowing butterfly with his mind and sent it flying around her head, making her giggle. Marcus stepped forward to address the gathered aliens. "The latest reports show the Dominion has retreated to its core worlds. Their empire of fear is crumbling. 10 more worlds declared independence this month alone." The aliens cheered. Many of them had lived under Dominion control for generations. Earth's example had shown them that resistance was possible. "But we're not here to talk about war," Anna said. "Today, we're opening the first Galactic Academy of Mental Sciences. Humans will teach other species how to unlock their own mental potential, just as our ancient ancestors taught us." The hall's walls shifted, becoming transparent to reveal the massive new academy building rising from the ice. It was built using a combination of human mental power and advanced technology, its crystal spires reaching toward the sky. "Every species has the potential for mental powers," Dr. Miller explained to the gathering. "Just like humans, they simply need to wake up." As if to demonstrate, several human teachers stepped forward. They had spent years learning how to help other species discover their abilities. Already, some aliens had shown signs of developing powers similar to humans. Tom checked his data pad, smiling. The first class has students from 50 different worlds, even some former Dominion citizens who want to learn a better way. Dr. Miller remembered how it all started, with a strange energy reading in an ice cave. Now, Earth had become a beacon of hope in the galaxy. Human ships, powered by both technology and mental energy, patrolled space to protect weaker worlds. Earth's cities had grown into marvels of psychic architecture, where buildings could repair themselves and vehicles flew on thought alone. "What do you think they would say?" he asked Marcus quietly, nodding toward the crystal chambers where they had first found the ancients. "They would be proud," Marcus replied. "Humanity didn't just wake up. It reached out to help others wake up too. That's what makes humans special." As the ceremony continued, Dr. Miller watched more ships arriving in the sky above. Each carried beings from distant worlds, all coming to learn from humanity. The same powers that had helped them defend Earth were now being used to unite the galaxy. A group of human children ran past, their teachers following close behind. One small boy stopped, waved his hand, and created a perfect miniature galaxy that floated in the air. Around him, alien children watched in wonder. "That's humanity's real victory," Anna said, watching the scene. "Not defeating the Dominion, but showing the galaxy that anyone can achieve the impossible. All they need is a little help remembering how." Dr. Miller nodded, feeling the combined mental energy of billions of humans and aliens flowing around the planet. The power they had found in that ice cave had changed everything. But humanity's greatest power had always been its ability to inspire others. The age of sleeping giants was over. The age of awakening had begun.